Hey, welcome to Cafe Maddy. Today I'm gonna review all the store-bought kimchi that I could possibly find, from the cheapest canned kimchi to the most expensive one I could find online, so that you don't have to try them yourself and you can skip the bad ones and pick the good ones. As a gold standard, I'm gonna be comparing them to what I think is the best, my family's kimchi from Korea. So sit back, relax, hit that like and subscribe button before we start, and enjoy. First, let's see where we can find some kimchi in New York. Today I'm heading over to the new H Mart that opened here in Long Island City, New York. I heard that it was enormous and beautiful, so here we are. We've made our way to the kimchi section where we can find all the big and well-known brands, and I can see that now we have vegan kimchi readily available at H Mart. And look at this beautiful display, guys. They have an entire aisle dedicated to kimchi. Can you believe it? And here is some very suspicious looking vegan kimchi. I don't know if I'm getting that one, but this is a brand I've never tried before, so let's pick up a jar. And now we're back in Brooklyn. I had to stop by some of my local grocery stores to see what's available, and I saw some very branded New York kimchis out here, and of course I had to pick one up from the back of the row to get the good stuff. And we're finally back. You won't believe how much kimchi I have in my fridge. Don't judge how full it is, okay? I'm a food creator, so my fridge is always full to the brim, but this time it's full of kimchi. I'll link a lot of these kimchi brands in the description below so that if you're curious, you can look them up and try them yourself. Disclaimer, I was not paid one dime by anybody to make this video, but a brilliant subscriber from my last Trader Joe's review suggested that I make this kimchi review, so here I am. Maddy's brutally honest kimchi review. Let's get started. A good kimchi should hit all of these flavors: sour, sweet, salty, spicy, umami, refreshing, balanced, funky, and ultimately yummy. So I scored each kimchi according to these categories. Here is a holy grail of kimchi that I'll be using as a reference. This is a kimchi my cousin brought straight from Korea when she was visiting me here in New York. This is a kimchi that money can't buy. It's homemade in a rural farm where every single ingredient is straight from the labor of one family in town. The person who made the kimchi also grew the cabbage, peppers, garlic, ginger in the same organic farm.
My mouth is watering.
And even the shrimp paste was sourced from a local fisherman who caught the shrimp and fermented it. So this is very rare and high quality and healthy. I basically treat this as my treasure chest and only bring it out for special guests like fine wine. So here's a flavor profile of the Holy Grail kimchi. The first impression is that it's very sharp. It's sharp, acidic, funky, umami, extremely flavorful, and quite salty. Honestly, it's not good or meant to be eaten on its own, but much better with rice or other dishes to balance things out. And this is quite spicy. It has a lingering heat, that sharp acidic spiciness that leaves you wanting for more. To compare with my Holy Grail kimchi, we have the most expensive kimchi I have ever encountered in my entire life. This I ordered from a high-quality Korean product market called Kimchi Market. Once you order the 225 set from Kimchi Market, the kimchi is made to order, packaged, and then shipped and expressed straight from Korea. All the ingredients used has been grown in Korea, and here it says the shrimp paste was fermented in some underground cave, which is the OG method. This isn't an ad, but just want to show you guys just in case if you're interested in trying out the premium, highest quality kimchi. Maybe closest to my cousin's kimchi that money can't buy. But this one, money can buy. And they only come in the set, and once you order, you'll get 6 different types of kimchi, fresh and with really high quality ingredients that you can trust. I'll put the link to all the kimchi I bought below in order so you can browse through. As expensive as this was, I had high hopes for this one. I mean, look at this color. It has this really deep red color, and even the juice is bright red. And it smelled absolutely delicious. So when I actually tried a piece, I was absolutely shocked. It was shockingly delicious. I actually didn't think that any kimchi here could beat my cousin's kimchi, but here we are. This is immediately definitely better tasting and more balanced than my cousin's OG kimchi. Only because on top of the complexities of all the funky, spicy, salty, umami flavors, there is a sweetness that balances out everything. And this tinge of sweetness is brought out even more when you eat it with rice. So, we already have a winner. Kimchi Market Premium Kimchi is much better than my cousin's Holy Grail Kimchi. Next up, I'll be comparing different types of kimchi that you might be able to find at a gourmet grocery store or a fancy bodega store in New York or online. These are mid-sized to smaller brands that birthed out of mom and pop homemade businesses and now with a very modern branding. I'll link them all below in the description. So first we have mother-in-law's kimchi. I've seen this kimchi everywhere. The lid says it's spritzy, funky, and full body, so let's see. It's definitely interesting, but I don't really love the taste of mother-in-law kimchi. It was too sour and funky for me. It definitely had the most unique taste out of all the kimchi that I tried, but it was so unique that it didn't taste like kimchi. I would say that this tasted closer to sauerkraut than kimchi. Maybe it will be a hit or miss for some people, and maybe it's an acquired taste, but all in all, I didn't think this was representative of an authentic kimchi flavor from the motherland. On our left here, we have Goshen kimchi, and this also kind of let me down. It was slightly too sour, and it might be good for soups, but the texture was less crisp, less sweet, and the flavors were not really complex, and it just felt flat. I wouldn't say the Goshen kimchi is extremely flavorful, but it does hit all the notes of authentic kimchi, so not bad. Let's say this is average. Third is this giant jar of twin kimchi. Initially, I didn't realize these also came in the smaller jars at my Brooklyn grocery store, so I ordered it online. But actually, you definitely get the bang for your buck if you order online because the 64-ounce jar is $19 and it's freshly made to order and shipped to you. So once you get the delivery, you shouldn't eat out of the jar right away, but wait a week or two for the kimchi to get pickled properly before opening it and eating it. So my jar is about 2 weeks old now and I'm opening it for the first time here. Honestly, twin kimchi, I love this one. It tastes clean, balanced, and all the flavors of sour, sweet, salty, and spicy are on the milder side, but not bland. And because it's not too salty, I would easily pick this as my everyday kimchi to eat in large amounts at a time without feeling like I'm loading myself up with sodium. Plus, the texture of this kimchi is crisp and fresh, and I feel like it's much better than the other two. Next up, we have two brands. These you'll definitely find at H Mart. I've seen them multiple times. The one on the right is Tobagi, but you'll see the brand name in small letters. Instead in big letters, you'll see Country Style Sliced Kimchi, which has actually been my go-to brand for a long time. And then the other one is called 1000-Year Kimchi, which I've never tried before. They both have very nice red colors, very appetizing. Tobagi is sour, salty, lightly sweet, and the sweetness is from the natural flavor of the napa cabbage, and it's not too spicy. So if you're not too keen on spicy foods like me, then this is for you. You can think of Tobagi as your very standard, good, reliable kimchi. It goes well with your everyday meals and also works well when you're cooking with kimchi. It's not too funky, but the fermented flavor is there, so this is a good starter kimchi along with twin kimchi. Next up, we have the 1000-Year Kimchi. This kimchi is sweet, salty, sour, and lightly funky. The flavor is pretty balanced and it tastes very refreshing. It has less of that deep fermented sour funky flavor and it retains more of the fresh cabbage flavor, which means it has more natural sweet notes than other kimchis, which I love. The cabbage is crisp and crunchy and that refreshing taste is predominant. And it's not that spicy, which means I can handle it pretty well. And it's especially really good with rice because the rice brings out that sweet flavor too.
This is so much fun.
In the end, I couldn't really choose between Tobagi and 1000-Year. Both are very solid and a good everyday kind of kimchi. Now it's time to battle the two vegan kimchi brands I found at H Mart. The brand on the left is Bibigo and the one on the right is Jongga, and they're both very well-known Korean food brands I grew up with in Korea. So I have mixed feelings about big brands since they are so mass-produced. Can they really keep up with the quality? The first thing I noticed when I opened them was that Jongga's vegan kimchi was less red and had more greenish color and was packed to the brim with kimchi. On the other hand, bibigo kimchi looked like it was full to the brim, but when I sifted through with my chopsticks, it was 50% sauce and maybe half kimchi. Let's find out how they taste like.
So here I have two vegan kimchis, one from bibigo and one from Jongga.
I tried the bibigo kimchi first, and this was my immediate reaction.
No, just no.
bibigo's vegan kimchi is simply mushy. The texture is the worst out of all brands I've tried.
Kimchi's mushy. Who wants to eat kimchi like this? I'm gonna be really sad if someone buys a jar of this and thinks that this is kimchi.
Kimchi is supposed to be crisp, crunchy, and refreshing with each bite, but it tasted like the cabbage was almost broken down to mush rather than pickled to be crisp.
Moving on to something hopefully better. I have this slice of Jongga kimchi. It's vegan. And you know what I like about this vegan kimchi from Jongga is that it came with also these fillings made out of radish, just like the twin kimchi.
Jongga kimchi had all the standard flavor notes. It was perfectly salty, funky, sharp, sour, and a little bit spicy with a crisp texture. Pretty standard, authentic kimchi. What I like about this kimchi is that you can even taste the original flavor of the cabbage, which tastes refreshing and healthy.
Okay, kimchi.
If you told me that this was not vegan,
But
I
would
wouldn't
say
have noticed.
Definitely the cabbage is crisp, a lot more than bibigo kimchi. So I like it. The flavor isn't as funky and in-depth and balanced and complex as the non-vegan one, but I would say this is pretty good kimchi. Pretty good. So if you're vegan, Jongga kimchi is not a bad option. So we have some bibigo kimchi with some rice.
I decided to give bibigo one more try with some rice to see if it's any better. But it was not.
I hate it.
It's way too sour, way too
I'll have to spit
spicy,
it out.
unbalanced.
Between the vegan kimchis, we have a winner here, and it's the Jongga kimchi.
Alright, let's go ahead and compare the regular sliced kimchi from the same two brands, Jongga and bibigo kimchi. bibigo has a cuter packaging for sure, but when you open it, it's the same thing. Jongga is packed with kimchi on the top, but bibigo has a surprising amount of sauce. So the sauce to kimchi ratio is almost 50-50.
There's a lot of the liquid, but not a lot of the kimchi, to be honest. I mean, this kimchi juice is gonna come in handy, but there's not a lot of kimchi in here. As opposed to the Jongga one, has a lot of kimchi in here. It's very packed. It's also, the color is a little bit greener.
Right off the bat, when you plate it, you can see bibigo kimchi has a very beautiful red color and more saucy, and Jongga kimchi has less liquid, and the cabbage looks more dehydrated and pickled correctly.
Let's see, small piece. So immediately, the most prominent flavor is spiciness. So bibigo kimchi is definitely on the spicier side. It's perfectly salty, not very sweet, or not sweet at all. You won't pick up on too much of a sour or funky note. You'll taste a lot of the spiciness. The napa cabbage from the bibigo kimchi is not crisp. It tastes a little mushy in my mouth. I don't taste as much of a crunch as I do in other kimchis, but it's deliciously spicy. The spiciness is so delicious, I think. So if you like spicy, this is the way to go. So bibigo kimchi, I really like it, but it's lacking texture, which is a big deal to me. So I don't know if I'm gonna be buying this again. Jongga is kind of stiff. Wait a second. This kimchi is so good. Wait, this is good. Once I started chewing on it, immediately I noticed a nutty flavor. And I know it sounds weird calling kimchi like nutty, but maybe because I've gotten used to all the sweet, sour, and funky and saltiness. Now, any other flavor profile is like jumping out at me. But in this 종가 kimchi, because of this nutty flavor that kind of really ties everything together, I really like it. I don't know what it is. By the way, completely different flavors, completely different types of kimchi. Much more than bibigo. I'm definitely loving 종가 a lot. I'm really shocked because, you know, you kind of assume a thing or two about big brands and think that, oh, they're not going to be as good as like artisan brands, but wow, after trying so many types of kimchi so far, this 종가 kimchi comes closest to that $200 kimchi, although that one was like so much more rich and complex. This is also rich and complex in its own way, and I like it. So clearly we have a winner here. This is our winner. 종가 for the win.
Last and possibly the least, we have the canned kimchi by 종가. As much as it's canned, I have pretty low expectations of this kimchi. I imagine that this will come in pretty handy when you travel abroad or go camping, so you can put it in your luggage without stinking up the whole plane. So if this kimchi is at least at average, it'll definitely make it to my packing list the next time I go to Europe.
I'm curious about the texture.
As soon as I put it in my mouth, it was a sour bomb. Extremely sour, unpleasantly sour at first, but the more I chewed on it, I tasted a ton of umami and complexities in this kimchi. What a roller coaster ride. I think this would be great to cook with as a condiment or as an ingredient when you go camping or when you're on a trip, but it's definitely a little too sour for an everyday kind of kimchi. Surprisingly, the texture is pretty decent. It's crispy and not mushy. So is it average? I would say it's a little bit below average. And maybe I'll look for a different canned kimchi if I can when I go on a trip.
So that's it. I tried 12 different types of kimchi, and now I'm going to compile all the scores and let you guys know what ranked first and what ranked last and what you guys should buy.
Alright everyone, drum roll please. I'm gonna rank all the kimchi but in 3 tiers. 1, the kimchi that was bad, which I do not recommend, and 2, the kimchi that was pretty okay, and 3, the kimchi that is guaranteed delicious. The worst kimchi I tried today is bibigo's vegan kimchi. Then came the kosher kimchi, and you know these are bad because they ranked even below the canned kimchi by 종가, which I thought wasn't even average. And the bibigo regular kimchi as well. I don't think these are worth buying. And then among the vegan brands, mother-in-law kimchi was less authentic but still okay, and the 종가 vegan kimchi was pretty decent. And then there is a top tier kimchi that is a guaranteed buy. Our 1000-year kimchi, 종가 kimchi that you can find even in Costco, tteokbokki kimchi from H-Mart, and among these were the twin kimchi. So fresh and so good as your everyday kind of kimchi. And of course, we have the most expensive and delicious kimchi from Kimchi Market that set the gold standard. I hope you guys found this video helpful. It was really worth trying all these different brands because now I know what kimchi to buy going forward. Let me know in the comments what I should review next, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram or TikTok for more recipe content. Enjoy!